What's happening, everybody? It's Grand Prix GP02 here, coming to you once again from the north end of Houston, Texas. And today, my thumb is greener than ever because today I'm working with a brand new 2017 Hyundai Ioniq Hybrid.
I've been loving everything you are. Your eyes alone are the brightest stars. I could stand you all night, just drinking in your sunlight. Give me love tonight. You put all the stars in my eyes. Can we love tonight? You tell me I light up the whole sky. Can we love tonight? You put all the stars in my eyes.
Alrighty guys, so here it is, the brand new 2017 Hyundai Ioniq Hybrid. So let's answer the big question first. What is the Hyundai Ioniq? The Ioniq is a compact alternative fuel source hatchback, which has now been brought over to the United States under 3 different variants. The one I'm showing you here, as I said before, is the hybrid. So it uses the traditional gas engine and electric motor combination to provide propulsion, using them at various speeds and at various times. We also now have the full-on electric version and the new plug-in hybrid version, all 3 of which we will hopefully be seeing by the end of this year, if not into early next year. But let's talk about the one I'm showing you here for a second. This is a 2017 Ioniq Hybrid Limited. The Limited, of course, is the top-level trim for the hybrid family, the trims of which start at Blue, then SEL, and finally end at Limited. Now, for the Limited, you can also upgrade it with the Limited Ultimate package, which throws in things such as automatic emergency braking, smart cruise control, the 8-inch touchscreen system with navigation, and also the Infinity 8-speaker premium audio system, which also includes Clarify music clarification. Now, this particular car is finished here in ceramic white, and it's paired with a black leather interior. And for a car that costs just under $30,000, Hyundai certainly has thrown quite a lot into the Ioniq's mix. So starting here at the front, we have the standard high-intensity discharge projector headlights. These are automatic as well, and they also have their standard LED light guides, which go around the inner part of the headlight design here. And I also like this nice little blue treatment that they've given the turn signals and little flashers here on the inside. Down below on the front fascia, we also have the LED daytime running lights and the active wheel air curtain, which is just this little air dam that goes through each side of the bumper here and exits out through the front of the wheel well. This nice little exit right here, and that of course flows down past the wheels and down the nice little indentation here down the side of the vehicle, thus giving this car a very slippery coefficient of drag. Coming back to the front here, you'll notice this huge gloss black piece here, which encompasses the entire grille with the nice little Hyundai logo here in the middle. And just up at the top part, amongst these 3 or 4 slats right here, are the active grille shutters. So again, adding to that very slippery coefficient of drag and allowing this car to get over 50 miles per gallon in the city and on the highway. So looking at the car dimensionally, it's a little bit shorter than a current generation Hyundai Elantra. I think Hyundai was telling me it's about 8 or 9 inches shorter than the current 2017 Elantra range. So even though it does look like a small car, there is still quite a lot of room to go around. Now here on the Limited trim, we have a standard set of 17-inch Eco Spoke alloy wheels. Now these are very nice in design. They got kind of these plastic shrouds here with the nice little blades on them, and then of course they're finished in the nice painted silver with the black insert here. You have 4-wheel disc brakes all the way around, which also includes a regenerative braking system. This of course is a hybrid, which means when the gas engine is in use or when you are going under some braking of any kind, it will of course regenerate that and send the power back to the battery. Now here on the side of the vehicle, we have body colored side mirrors with LED turn signals. Up top, we have a standard power tilting and sliding sunroof here on this Limited trim. And then finally moving down to the doors, we have the matte silver finish here, identifying this car as the Limited here on the top of all 4 door handles. And the buttons on the 2 front door handles are for the proximity key keyless access system with standard push button ignition. Now, like I said, looking at it from the side here, it really doesn't look all that big, but trust me, in person, this car definitely is deceiving. It is a very, very big car, especially when you get on the inside. Now, moving around to the back of the Ioniq Limited here, we of course have these LED taillights here in this nice boomerang shape. We also have a split rear windshield, so you have this large piece of glass up here, this huge rear spoiler which goes across the whole of the back end, and then you also have a nice smaller piece of glass down here at the bottom, almost kind of reminiscent of that of the Hyundai Veloster. We also have the signature badging, so you have the hybrid badge here, letting people know which one you've got, and then also your Ioniq badge down here. Your trunk latch is located underneath the Hyundai symbol here, and you also have your nice little rear view camera here located at the back as well. And one of the things I love about this back end, and I'll go ahead and show you real quick, is the fact that the entire back end will actually lift up as one. So this whole sheet of glass and everything comes up as one whole unit. Now we'll talk about cargo space and that here in just a bit, but I do love that it's actually just this huge piece here, and it actually allows for quite a lot of room there on the inside. And another useful feature is if you have the key fob on you, this car does not have the hands-free smart trunk access. However, if you have the key fob on you, all four doors will stay locked, but it will allow you to access the trunk via the trigger, and that's again only if you have the key fob on you. But down here on the bottom, we also have more of the gloss black treatment, very reminiscent of the front as well, with kind of these little fins. This is sort of a signature theme. You see this on the wheels and also around the front of the vehicle as well. But like I said, for just over $30,000, this car is a bit of a bargain in some cases, but then again, most hybrids on the market nowadays are rather expensive. However, having spent some time with this car already, I can tell you that Hyundai still has that philosophy of offering a lot of things for not a whole lot of money. So it may cost $31,000, but what you get for the money is definitely worth it in the end. So does that theme continue on with the interior? Well, let's open her up and let's take a look. So now taking a look at the Ioniq's interior, there are a couple of gripes that I have with this car's cabin first and foremost. The first of which is some of the aesthetics. So although we have the soft touch material here on the top of the door, it's not exactly the most visually appealing material that I've ever seen. It gets a little bit firmer as you go down here towards the middle of the door. You have leatherette bolsters here to rest your arms on, so they are a little bit firm, but not exactly the hardest thing I've ever felt in the world. And then of course you also have all your powered amenities, including your power mirrors, your power door locks, the keyless access with push button start, as I said before, window locks. You also have an automatic up-down driver's window for both the front passengers, and also the rear passengers just get regular power windows as well. You also have a bottle holder down here in the bottom of the door, as well as a small mat pocket. And then moving over to the rest of the Ioniq's cabin, certain pieces of it do remind me of a lot of Hyundai's other vehicles in their current lineup. For example, the 3-spoke flat-bottom steering wheel here is very reminiscent of that of the Elantra Sport, minus the perforated side grips and also the red stitching that the Elantra Sport has, but very much the same design with the flat bottom with this sort of scooped out center spoke here at the bottom. But also the seats. The seats are extremely comfortable in this, and the leather is actually of pretty decent quality in here. Now you can only get the interior in 2 different colors. Like I said, this one's black. You can also get it in beige. The bolstering of the seats is very nice. Plenty of room for my broad shoulders here. Again, I'm 6'1", but I'm a little bit wider up top than I am down low. But anyways, the bolstering's very nice. You got pretty decent thigh support here, and these are also heated, which I'll talk a lot more about this cabin here in just a bit. And to add to the driver's comforts, you also have the power adjustable driver's seat, so power recline, power distance, and the power lumbar support as well. Now, sitting here in the driving position of the Ioniq, one thing stands out to me right away, which is the visibility here. The windshield is actually raked away at a very steep angle, and from some perspectives, particularly for me, it does actually seem a little bit narrow. That's the top right there, and the bottom is right down there. So the windshield does appear to be just a tad bit narrow, but out the sides here, great visibility out the side window. The B-pillar is a little bit thick, so sitting back here in the driver's seat is kind of hard to see around the headrest, but my real hindrance is way back there. As you can see, the spoiler does go across that rear window, like I said before, so you've got a little bit of a blind spot back there when you're looking out the back window. But there's no time like the present to give this thing some power, so we do have Hyundai's standard key fob fob here with all your typical functions, lock, unlock, hold this down to release the trunk, and then of course the panic, and you also have the releasable key blade here should either this key or the car itself lose power. So all you have to do, have the key fob anywhere within the vehicle, put your foot on the brake pedal, hit the button on the dashboard, and so now that we've got the power on, let's talk about this interior, because this being the Limited, there is quite a lot to talk about in here. For starters, directly in front of the driver, as I mentioned before, a 3-spoke leather-trimmed flat bottom design multifunction steering wheel with all of your typical controls. Over here on the left, we have our hands-free volume controls. We also have the voice recognition and radio mode and hands-free Bluetooth as well. Over here on the right, we have some of the buttons control the right-hand side of the thin film transistor display for the gauge cluster, and we also have the cruise control functions as well. Again, this being the base end Limited, it does not have the active cruise control here, but those buttons would be over here on the right hand side as well. Now the steering wheel itself, very nice and soft and supple leather, at least to the feeling. It is a bit firm if you were to squeeze it, so there's not too much give to it, but nice grip extensions here at 10 and 2. The steering is extremely fluid. Again, it's an electric power assisted steering system. But then moving up here to the gauge cluster, there is quite a lot to say up here, and I'm sorry for the glare there, but here in the middle we do have the speedometer, which is weird because at the base it has the kilometers an hour display, and over here on the right you can have miles per hour. So if you're perhaps in a different country, you can differentiate between the two. You also have the icons that tell whether the vehicle is ready to drive or not. Also the indicator down here as to what mode you're in, whether you're just in eco mode or like it says here in electric vehicle mode. You also have your odometer and trip meter down here as well. And if we scroll through the menu, you can also see things such as tire pressure, driver settings. You can also go up and down, tells you how economical you're driving or what style of driving the vehicle's been put through, the energy flow in the vehicle, engine temperature, average miles per gallon and instant fuel economy, and also your different trip meters as well. And I'm not sure how well you can see it over here. I'll just kind of put my hand over it, but you also have the meter there. That's kind of your power meter. You have the charging part at the bottom, so that's for the regenerative braking. The eco mode part tells you when you're driving at your most fuel efficient. And then of course you have the power mode, which tells you when you're accelerating just a little bit too much or that the gas engine has kicked in. But everything else in here is pretty straightforward. Over here on the left, you do have your blind spot indication system as we feel the gas engine kick in there just a bit because we have the AC on. We do have traction control, instrumentation dimming, fuel cap release, and also the reset for the 12-volt battery. Now, one thing I failed to mention up here on the door, the Limited Ultimate package will also give you a 2-person driver's seat memory setting, so that's nice to have if you so desire. But then moving over here to the center console, there's quite a lot of buttons here, but everything is very straightforward. 7-inch touchscreen display, and this does control the 6-speaker audio system that comes as standard, but again, on the Limited, if you want to upgrade, you can get the 8-speaker Infinity Premium audio system as well. And one of the things I love about just this area right here is this row of buttons here. They're not like your typical push buttons. They're almost like computer keys or something like that. They each respond to a very minimal amount of pressure at that. So pushing the radio button, of course, brings up things such as your AM and FM radio, Sirius XM satellite radio, media, that's for your iPod auxiliary and USB inputs, and Bluetooth media streaming. You have your hands-free phone, seek track functions, you have your different apps. So that's Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, your hybrid mode, telling you kind of how fuel efficiently you're driving, and it shows the energy flow. Very similar to what you will find up there on the right-hand side of the display. But then you also have voice command, your quick guide, Hyundai's Blue Link telematics and car care is also included. And also you have the display setup, so things like your clock, Blue Link, your sound functions, so bass, treble, mid-range, all that kind of stuff. All of that can be displayed from the touchscreen up here. Now, as far as the 6-speaker stereo system, it actually is pretty decent for only having 6 speakers and not being the upgraded stereo system to boot. So So like I said, the standard 6-speaker audio system does actually make a pretty decent noise, especially with cool music like our EDM station that we have here. But moving down from this whole area up here, we have the automatic dual zone climate control system. You have the function here to set it just to the driver setting. You also have the sync button, which will allow you to control them at the same time or individually. You have your fan speeds, you have your air conditioning climate modes, and you also have automatic AC, front and rear defroster, and air conditioning recycling to go along with it. Just below that, we do have a very large cubby down here, so plenty big enough for even the biggest of smartphones out there, or at least I do believe it's big enough for that. You do also have your iPod USB and auxiliary input, as I said before, and two 12-volt 180-watt direct current outlets down there as well. So if you want to charge your phone via a cigarette lighter and instead of the USB, you can do that just fine. Now, one of the interesting things is, along with this hybrid powertrain, the Ioniq does not use a continuously variable automatic transmission like a lot of other hybrids out there. Instead, Hyundai has fitted this particular hybrid system with a 6-speed EcoShift dual clutch automatic transmission. You do also have things such as the manual shift mode with the simulated gears, and in this car it does come standard with a backup camera. However, if you upgrade to the Ultimate package, it will also give you the rear parking sensors as well. But you do get your standard guidance lines, which also does include trajectory, so when you turn the wheel, the lines will line up with whichever direction you turn the steering wheel, and you put it in park. You also have those automatic door locks, which will lock when the car is put into any other gear other than park. Now, as I said before, you also have the 3-stage heated seats here for both the front occupants, so for the driver and for the passenger. Also have a nice little cup holder here, plenty big enough for your big gulp from 7-Eleven. Same thing here with this one here in the back. You also have a leatherette bound center console, which isn't exactly the biggest thing in the world. It does go down somewhat deep, but it's again not the deepest thing in the world. And you do have this weird little slot here, which is more maybe for like maps or something of the like. Up towards the roof line of the vehicle here, you can see we do have the auto-dimming rear view mirror, which does include the HomeLink garage door system. You also have the compass up there in the corner. You also have Hyundai's BlueLink telematics and car care emergency service button up here, as well as the BlueLink button as well. And finally, like I was saying before, we have things such as the LED map lights up top and the power tilting and sliding sunroof. So you slide the shade back and it's just a one-touch operation. So now getting into the Ioniq's rear compartment, one of the big surprises for me, for starters, was the size of the entrance. So the roofline does slope down here just a bit, but rest assured, even taller folks like myself at 6'1" can fit back here no problem. So ingress and egress, entrance and exit out of the vehicle is very easy indeed. Now I am sitting directly behind myself. I have the seat in the position where I would prefer it. I'm sitting exactly as I would as a backseat passenger, and for starters, I do have quite a lot of room. I can at least fit 4 of my fingers between my knee and the back of the seat, kind of like the stadium seating here, with the back of the seats being indented. No leather or anything like that here, but you do also have one mat pocket here in the back of the passenger seat. And one of the other nice things is, even though this is a hatchback, if I were to sit all the way back, my head does hit the ceiling here, but they have raised the headliner just a little bit, so you can get some better headroom here for taller folks in the back. Now, as I've been saying this whole time, this car is indeed a hatchback, and as I showed you guys earlier, being that it's a hatchback, this entire rear end from the top of the glass to the bottom of the trunk here comes open when you pull the trunk latch. So you open it up and all of a sudden you've got this giant opening here to put in all kinds of stuff. Now, one of the benefits of this car in particular is being the fact that they've constructed the battery in the way that they have. It actually gives you a flat trunk floor here, so it allows for up to 26.5 cubic feet of total cargo storage with the rear seats up. Now, these rear seats are 60/40 split fold, so you just flick the little trigger at the top of the seat and you can fold them straight down and extend the cargo space enormously. And one of the cool things, as somebody was mentioning to me earlier, they actually had pets, and they said that this would be no problem to put a nice dog mat back here or something like that to prevent their pets from ruining the seats, but also it allows their pets to actually be back in the back of this car quite comfortably. So getting underneath the Ionic's skin for a second reveals what could make this car a real Prius killer. The hybrid trim level we have here features a 1.6-liter direct-injected Atkinson cycle 4-cylinder engine mated to a 32-kilowatt permanent magnet high-density electric motor and a 240-volt lithium polymer battery cell. The end result is 139 net horsepower and 125 pound-feet of torque. However, this car has one goal in mind, and that is fuel efficiency. The SEL and limited trim levels will get 55 miles per gallon in the city and 54 miles per gallon on the highway, returning a combined average of 55 miles to the gallon. However, step down to the blue trim level and you're looking at 57 in the city and 59 on the highway, returning a combined average of 58 miles per gallon. So either way you slice it, the Ioniq Hybrid is definitely one that's going to save you some pennies, regardless of which way you go. Now, even though this Ioniq Hybrid has not received its official safety rating from the IIHS just yet, it's pretty safe to say with all of the stuff that comes as standard and some of the available safety features on this vehicle, it's pretty safe to say that Hyundai does have safety on its mind when it comes to the Ioniq. For example, you do have side curtain and side impact airbags, as well as your front impact airbags for the driver and passenger, as well as a driver's knee airbag underneath the steering column, as well as some of the electronic goodies such as blind spot monitoring, the automatic emergency braking, the smart cruise control, and so on and so forth. Again, it's definitely safe to say this can be a very safe hybrid indeed, despite its rather small stature. Now, sitting here in the passenger seat, this car still feels very spacious. It feels just as spacious as it did over in the driver's side. The passenger seat is manually adjustable, so no power passenger seat, even on the uppermost trim level. But as far as the glove box is concerned, it does fall right into your lap. It's not very deep, but I mean, it is rather decently wide, so you can fit quite a bit of stuff in there. But overall, my impressions of the Ioniq have been very, very positive all the way around. It's a very cute looking little car. It gets great gas mileage for the size of the vehicle, and if you really wanted to, it can actually accommodate you and all your friends at the same time. So I do give my thumbs up to Hyundai for their efforts on this vehicle, and I definitely cannot wait to see what this car's future holds in terms of sales. And unfortunately, on that note, everybody, our time here with the brand new 2017 Hyundai Ioniq Hybrid has now unfortunately come to a close. I do hope you guys have enjoyed this review as much as I have had fun making it for you guys. Now, if you guys like what you see, feel free to like, subscribe, or leave a comment in the box below. And in the end, a huge thanks goes out to my friends at Humble Hyundai once again for giving us the keys to their only Ioniq Hybrid at the time of this review for us to have a look at today. But from here in the north end of Houston, Texas, this has been Grand Prix GTP 02, and I'll see y'all next time. Take care, everybody.